Lilo and Stitch was not spared from the Disney epidemic, a virus outbreak known as live-action remakes. Hey, if it makes money, then it makes sense. So they had to make a live-action version. Like, it's happening. And what do you know? They did it.
Uh-oh, watch out for the goal! Oh!
There is a live-action version of it now. Woo! Is it any good? Yeah, it's actually really good. And this is coming from a guy who hates live action remake. I think the only two that I like are like Beauty and the Beast and The Jungle Book. Other than that, everything else, dog shit. But this movie was surprisingly good. I had a blast with it. I think it's the best live action remake I've seen so far. And I know a lot of people hate on this movie, so I'm happy to say I'm here to dismantle these people's arguments. Let's begin. So the opening sequence of the movie is almost identical to the original. The only thing that's missing is Gantu, which I know is a major complaint with a lot of people that have seen this movie.
Yes! 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 No! No! No!
And if I'm being completely honest, it didn't bother me that much. I saw an interview with the director on YouTube, and he was talking about how it didn't really seem to work well in the live action with Gantu.
Gantu is one of those things that, it just didn't work so well in live action.
So that tells me probably they didn't have the budget to make it look really awesome. And if I'm being honest, I'd much rather something be taken out of a movie if it's not gonna look good than something forced into the movie looking half-assed. It instantly gave me flashbacks to the first Sonic design when it came out on the internet and everybody was making memes out of it and making fun of it.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Thank God they actually changed that and it actually turned out really good. But I was just imagining some Sonic version of Gantu in the movie, and I'm just like, that would completely not feel right. And for you Gantu lovers out there, this movie's making bank. So now, if they didn't have the budget in the first movie to pull it off, they're definitely gonna have the budget in this second movie, because since this movie's doing so well at the box office, they're definitely gonna up the budget. And now you have Gantu to get people excited for the second movie. It's like a no-brainer. And listen, you die-hard Gantu fans, I looked up on ChatGPT and asked it, how much time does Gantu appear in the first Lilo and Stitch movie? And the response was, in the original Lilo and Stitch 2002, Captain Gantu appears on screen for approximately 5 minutes and 6 seconds. So don't come to me with it, oh, Gantu's not in the movie, so it's not good. F*** off.
Oh, fuck off. Fuck off.
He's only in the movie for 5 minutes. That's like, what? It's not a big deal. And don't come at me with the,
well, his presence is felt even when he's not in the scene.
you guys can go f yourselves. So they're having this like intergalactic space meeting where they're talking about experiment 626, which is Stitch. I think also a reason why I think the movie works so well is that like they took scenes from the original. Obviously they took Gantu out of it, but they still kept the magic of the original scene. Like in this scene, I mean, as much as I love Gantu, he's not the centerpiece. I love watching Stitch interact with these like motion sensor space guns, and he's like throwing around his spit, making them shoot randomly. Like those are the magical moments, and that's exactly what they redid in this movie. Same with the intro with Lilo when she's swimming in the Hawaiian ocean water. She gets out of the beach, she's running late for her Hawaiian hula dance class. I mean, you're seeing these scenes come to life, which is exactly what I want from a live action movie. We then see Nani being late for Lilo's dance, so when she arrives home she tries to get in, but Lilo locked her out. The social worker comes, so it's all awkward, and I thought Nani was amazing in this movie, and Lilo as well. Like the actresses that they chose were phenomenal. One of my biggest concerns with this movie was that I loved the design of Stitch in the trailers, but I was worried that the human characters wouldn't live up to the part. But I'm glad to say they both did very good jobs in this movie. I was very pleasantly surprised. So she's having this conversation with the social worker, and obviously things aren't looking good. So the social worker gives her 1 week to complete certain tasks. I think one of them is like getting health insurance in order for her to come back and say that she's fit to take care of Lilo. And we cut to the classic fight scene that Lilo and Nani have in their house. And I will admit, in the original movie, I think this fight holds up way better. It's just more exaggerated and more intense. And that's just something I don't think the live action can live up to. Then we get introduced to this like neighbor character, which is not in the original movie. And I know a lot of people were not pleased by that. I mean, like I said, these are like minor details that I could care less about. We also get introduced to Nani's romantic interest in this movie, and I gotta say, I do prefer the cartoon version of this guy. He's just kind of like a bland character. I don't want to hate, but like his acting was awesome. But then as Nani is putting Lilo to bed, we get this like heartfelt moment where they're having this deep conversation. And in these past 5 minutes, you learn that Nani is actually a very bright student. Like she can actually go to school and become something, which I don't think is something they touched on in the first movie. This is something that they added, which I quite liked that they added this new element to the character. And then Lilo catches a shooting star, so she goes to make a wish, and we get the classic scene where she asks for a friend, essentially. And this is when Stitch crash lands on Earth. And come on, man, not for nothing, this scene translated very well into live action. When he's just there, standing in the night with the green fire in the background, and he's just like screaming like a monster, like, ah! And then he looks over with his big ass ears, and the freaking frog is right there staring at him. He's trying to intimidate it, and he's just getting shocked repeatedly by the aliens on the spaceship. And then he goes to some like nearby wedding to like use the electricity to get the collar off of him, and then he's like wreaking havoc amongst these people. I can honestly do without this scene, but I enjoyed it. It was pretty funny. But what I did really like about this scene is when he gets run over by the bus, and you just see him get pummeled down there in slow motion, and then the frog is right there just looking at him. So stupid. And then we see the two aliens that got sent to capture Stitch, Jumba and Pleakley. And this is another major complaint that a lot of people had. They didn't appreciate that they were disguised as actual human beings, because they took away that element from the original movie where they're just big aliens dressed up as humans. And man, do I have to disagree with that, because there are certain things that work in an animated film that don't work in live action. They just don't translate that well, and this is one of them. You mean to tell me all these people on this island are dumb as shit and they can't tell that there's clearly a creature behind these human clothes that is not human? Fuck off. Fuck off. Jeremy Johns said it the best, and he's like the lord and savior of our niche on YouTube.
Lilo and Stitch animation has a couple of aliens who clearly look like aliens. Anyone would just look at them and be like, that's clearly not a human. It works because it's an animation. We take the leap, we make the leap, let's move on. But in live action, it wouldn't work. We'd see it and be like, how do people in a live action world not call them out as aliens? They just look like aliens.
And I agree with him. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that some aliens that have the technology to travel through space and get to Earth from other planets don't have some sort of disguise machine where they can disguise themselves as human. That seems possible. And they were funny. I mean, one of them is Zach Galifianakis. He's hilarious. I know some people didn't like him, but man, that scene when they're at the resort trying to check in, she's like, where are you guys visiting from? And they're like, Earth. So stupid. So I actually like the change that they did with these characters, and I think they're funny and likable. And then we cut to Stitch, who's locked up in some cage in a dog shelter, and as he's escaping the dog shelter, he gets attacked by Jumba and Pleakley. So he goes back inside and he sees Lilo, and then you get the iconic famous scene from the original where they meet each other. I love this scene. I thought it was cute. I thought it was funny. You get the same poster from the original. You get Stitch like pulling his arms in and his antennas and his freaking spikes on his spine, and he's trying to play it off like he's a dog. It's just adorable. But once again, people have to hate on this scene because it's not
exactly like the original.
Just because Nani's not in the scene doesn't make the entire scene bad. Oh my gosh, guys, you're so sensitive. So they bring Stitch back home, and Nani's obviously very upset because she's super stressed out. She's got a ton on her plate, and now you're adding another responsibility that she has to deal with. And then we get introduced to Agent Cobra Bubbles. He's a CIA agent. We then cut back to Lilo and Stitch is watching a monster movie play out on a TV nearby, which inspires him to be like a mini Godzilla for a second. And then you get the mean girls pulling up and making fun of Lilo. And in the original movie, Stitch steals her like little tricycle thing, but in this movie, he steals this like electric Hummer, mini Hummer thing, and they go for a loop around the island, and then he discovers that he's on an island, so he has no way to get to a big city or anything, and he's devastated. So they go hang out on the beach together, and there's a couple cute moments here and there. For example, my favorite part is when he's in between all these sandcastles, and then he started acting like Godzilla again, just like It's so funny, bro. Like, I don't think I've mentioned this so far, but Stitch is awesome in this movie. Make no mistake, Stitch carries the film. The CGI looks great, which was one of my major concerns. I didn't want a Sonic situation, but he looks awesome in this movie. He's cute, he's funny, he's adorable. Literally, like, whenever he's on screen, you just feel good, and that's why I love this movie. It's hard to hate on it because he's just awesome. Anyways, on their way back, they run into Zach Galifianakis' character, and he's able to put this tracking device on their car so he can follow them later. And then we go to the next iconic scene where they bring Stitch to Nani's job. This entire sequence at her restaurant job is 10 out of 10. There's so many cute Stitch moments. Like, at least 2 or 3 of my favorite Stitch moments are in this scene. When he gets forcibly sat by Nani in the baby chair and then he just rips off the collar, hilarious. When Lilo introduces her new dog to Nani's romantic interest, and he's just like, are you sure that's a dog? And Stitch just goes, bruh. Like, not even trying to be a good actor and play it off. He just doesn't care. And then my personal favorite, probably of the entire movie, is when Stitch grabs a hold of that, like, soda gun that, you know, sprays soda, and they have this, like, cowboy standoff. Oh my god, that scene is so good. That's one of the best moments in this movie that's not in the original. I love this scene. It is so funny, cute, memorable. I could watch this scene on repeat 10 times in a row. I just can't get enough of it. He's just so cute to look at. But anyways, they go on to cause mayhem in this restaurant, and eventually there's a table that catches on fire because of Stitch, so Nani loses her job because of him. So when they get home, Nani is super upset, rightfully so, and Stitch just continues to be a menace. So she's just like, I've had enough, we're taking him back tomorrow morning. And then Lilo pulls out the Ohana card where she's like,
Well, what about Ohana? Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind.
and I really do love the message of the first movie about family and Ohana, no one gets left behind. That's really cool. But what I love even more about this movie is they keep that message, but they start to interject little, reality into the equation, because things sound good on paper sometimes, but that doesn't always translate to real life. I'll give you an example. We always tell kids, you shouldn't lie. And on paper, you should not lie. That's a bad thing. That's being deceptive to others. However, in real life, if someone's going through a hard time, they just need a compliment, lift their spirits up a little bit, but they're, a little bit overweight, and they're like, do I look fat? No, you look great. You know what I'm saying? Like, those sayings sound really good, but there's like little nuances in real life that those sayings don't really capture. And I think this movie does a good job of capturing that, because Nani tells her, like, yes, Ohana, all that stuff sounds good on paper, but sometimes that doesn't apply to real life, and I need you to start living in reality. I thought that was a great scene, and we'll talk about Ohana later on in the film because it pissed people off, but just wait. We cut to Lilo and Stitch in Lilo's room, and she begins to show Stitch pictures of her family and describing what a family is, and she's like, where's your family? He's like, I don't have a family, because he's an experiment. Another great Stitch moment in this movie is when he starts drinking the lava lamp. It's hilarious. It's so funny. But then after that, we get an actually very cool, heartfelt moment where she starts teaching him her hula dance, and at the very end of it, she does this thingy where it's like, until we meet again. Remember that. But then she kisses him on the nose, and you can visibly see Stitch feel warm inside after that, which was really cute. And this next scene, I'll agree with you guys, was not as good as the original. When she shows Nani that Stitch can play music out of his mouth when he's like putting his finger on the record player, Nani's not even looking. She's like on her phone. Whereas in the original, she's looking and her jaw just drops like, it's a great moment in the original that did not get translated very well into the live action. I don't know if they were trying to like make it relevant with the times with iPhones and stuff like that, but it did not come off as magical of a moment as the original. But Nani then runs into the social worker, who introduces Agent Cobra Bubbles as another social worker, and Lilo's not stupid at all, so she's looking at him like, you don't look like a social worker, based off like the tattoo that he has on his hand and the ring that he's wearing. She's kind of able to piece two and two together, like, this motherfucker is something else. But Agent Cobra Bubbles does get a hair sample of Stitch, and then we get a little montage of Nani trying to get a new job, and then Lilo and Stitch always causing trouble in the background, which doesn't allow her to get a new job. Meanwhile, Jumba and Pleakley are in the background trying to capture Stitch. And after a failed day of job interviews, Nani's romantic interest suggests to her, why don't you become a surf instructor since you already love doing it? And then we get the classic Hawaiian roller coaster ride scene where they're all surfing together. This scene hits so much different now as an adult because, if you don't know, I'm a preschool teacher that works with like 3 to 4-year-old kids, and after nap time, the way that we wake them up, since we're not allowed to like forcibly wake them up, we put on Disney songs in the background so they can like wake up to that. And one of our favorite songs is Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride from the original Lilo and Stitch. Now, when I watched the original Lilo and Stitch, that song didn't really mean much to me back then. But now, as one of our favorite songs in our classroom, seeing it on the big screen, it just hit completely different. And I guess it's just because it's personal to me. So that's just something that maybe not a lot of people will experience. There's something in my eye. But yeah, this whole scene was just perfect for me. But it all comes to an end when the aliens are trying to capture them and they all fall off the surfboard, and Nani almost drowns. However, she ends up being okay, but the social worker meets Nani at the hospital saying like, this is not really going well. You should probably consider letting go of Lilo. And then we cut to a sad part of the movie where Nani's having this really hard conversation with Lilo, kind of telling her like, things are gonna change, we might not be living together, and this is just the way things are gonna play out. Stitch is in the background listening to all of this, and he kind of realizes that he's the one that's causing their separation, so he gets all sad and walks away. It's so sad as Lilo and Nani are just singing this beautiful song in the hammock. It's really a sad moment. I mean, as an adult, I teared up a bunch of times in this movie. So the next day, the social workers arrive to pick up Lilo, and I just gotta point out, this one shot in particular in this movie is cinematic as f. When she's walking up the stairs to Lilo's room, it is cinematic as f. look at that shot. It's so good. But anyways, they open the door and Lilo's not there. She went looking for Stitch, who went back to his cage at the dog shelter. And this is when he's all like, Stitch is bad. And it's so cute because it's so sad. And she tells him he's not bad, he just does bad things sometimes. And then Jumba walks into the picture, but he drops his gun and Stitch gets a hold of it and makes this like double portal loop that makes him fall eternally. And the way he stops falling is that he turns into Jumba, so he fattens up and stops it, which is kind of funny. But he follows them back to Lilo's house, and I gotta say, not for nothing, Jumba has a much more intimidating presence in this movie. In the original one, he's not as scary, but in the live action remake, when he walks through that door, man, he looks menacing as f. But they have this like mini battle in the house, but Lilo and Stitch get the upper hand, and they kind of corner Jumba and his hands are up, but Jumba hits them with the truth, and the truth hurts, saying that Stitch doesn't really care about Lilo, he's just there using her to protect himself, which is kind of true, but the truth has kind of changed over time because he's gotten feelings for Lilo as well. But he gets all sad and just willingly walks with Jumba, who takes him on the spaceship, and I'm just like, why? And then Nani and the social workers get to the house all concerned, where's Lilo and Stitch? And they run into the other alien dude, which they take captive to kind of help them find Lilo. Meanwhile, Lilo is on the spaceship with them, and she's able to push a button that opens a door which sucks out Jumba, but he's so fat that he like just stays stuck there. It's kind of funny, but eventually he does get sucked out and falls into the middle of the ocean, and the spaceship is about to crash in the ocean. So Stitch is telling Lilo, we gotta jump, but she all of a sudden loses her family picture, so he goes back and jumps and gets it, and the ship crashes. And this is another one of my favorite moments, probably number one in terms of the feels, but when we see Lilo at the bottom of the ocean and she's stuck with a piece of the ship on top of her, and Stitch goes in after her to save her, and we all know that he's not good in water, he's gonna drown. Oh my god, bro, there's a great meme that perfectly shows what I was feeling in that moment, and it's with Tobey Maguire in the theater, and the caption says 25-year-old me crying at this scene, and he's just bawling his eyes out. Bro, that was me. That was me. Because he goes to save Lilo, and then Lilo's trying to help him up, but he's too heavy, so they're both drowning, and then he takes his hand out, and as he's sinking into the water, you can just see his cute little ass face, and then he goes like this, like, until we meet again, self-sacrificing to save Lilo. Oh, that just hit home, man. That scene was so good. How can you not cry in that moment, bro? I was tearing up, dude. I've seen this movie twice, and I'm probably gonna go see it a third time. It gets me every single time, bro. Such a heartfelt moment, and thank God he doesn't die, because Nani ends up saving him, because you can't kill the cash cow, you can't kill the money maker, we gotta milk this shit. But it is kind of weird how Nani saves him, because instead of just going up and swimming, she like lunges through the water up to the shore, and they did show us that before in like Nani's little photo album, that she trained in whatever that thing is. I just don't know what that is, so please comment below if you know. Anyways, it seems like Stitch is dead, but they're able to resuscitate him using car cables, and everyone's happy until we see this big spaceship come out of nowhere, and the alien queen arrives to take Stitch with her. And then we end off the movie with the classic scene of Stitch being like, can Stitch say goodbye? And he says, this is my family. It's small and broken, but still good. And she ends up deciding to exile him on Earth so he can stay with his family, and Pleakley stays behind to keep an eye. And that's basically when the movie ends, and this is perfect to set up sequels, which I hope they do, because this movie's making bank. But I was lying too, because this is not actually the end of the movie. There is one more scene that pisses people off, and we're gonna get into it. The social worker talks to Nani once again, offering her a different solution, saying, hey, why don't you give Lilo and Stitch to your next door neighbor and her romantic interest who will take care of them, and you are able to go off to college. And a lot of people are saying, oh, so now the new meaning of Ohana is foster care? Ohana means foster care? Shut the up, you self-righteous pricks. She's not abandoning her sister, for God's sake. She's going to she's gonna get a better life. Ohana doesn't mean hold your family members back. That's not what family means. What the If your family truly loves you, they want to see what's best for you. They want to see you reach your fullest potential and become the best version of yourself. And if your family's not supporting you in that, then they're not a true family. What the Get rid of them. Want her to just wait tables for the rest of her life? That's not a future. What the She's actually bright. That's an element they added to this character in this movie.
Our future's in your hands. None of that. Your future is in your hands, and you're going to have a very bright future because of that Akamai brain. You stop with this. That school is the best school in the whole world for that bionic magnets. Brain biology. And they already let you in once, and they wanted to give you a full ride.
They showed us that she was really smart at school and she has the potential to become a marine biologist. So she can go get a better career, then come back and have more money to take care of Lilo and Stitch and provide for them and provide better opportunities. That's common sense. What the fuck? How could you not agree with that? Plus, to be fair, she was not fit to be a mom. She's like 22 with all these responsibilities and she's super young. It's like, that's not a stage in your life where you want to be a parent. And as they show, she was not fit to take care of Lilo. So maybe it is better that Lilo goes with her next door neighbor who's a little bit more mature and can handle that. And on top of all of that, she also has the portal gun. So it's not like they're apart that often. They just see each other regardless. It just really blows my mind that people went as far as to say, oh, Hana is foster care. Like, you guys are dumb as f. I thought the ending was great. And like I mentioned before, how things sometimes sound good on paper, but in reality, it doesn't work out just like that. That's what I love about this new ending. It's more realistic and better. Yes, Ohana means family. Yes, that means no one gets left behind. But in this circumstance, hey, can you stay a couple years with this foster parent, with Stitch? We'll still be in contact while I get a degree, get a better job for myself so we can provide better for this family. That's real. If you love your family, you do sacrifices so that they can get to a better place in their life. All in all, I thought this was a fantastic live action remake of the first Lilo and Stitch. I think they're both great movies. Anabox Facts said it best.
Both are solid, just different stories told in different ways. Hot take, I like Nani better in the remake. Nani's art change might upset purists, but it worked for the remake's tone.
They're both really good movies, just told a little bit differently, and they're both valid. I love the original. I also love the live action remake. I disagree with everybody's hate for it. This movie's fantastic. Stitch is awesome. Nani and Lilo are fantastic. It was funny. There was heartfelt moments, and I don't miss Gantu that much. He'll be in the sequels, and that's really all I have to say. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I will catch you guys, as always, for the next one. And please subscribe if you like videos like this. Hit that like button. It really helps me out. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.